Hello and welcome to IRL FP here for round 7 in Russia, of course the Sochi Autodrome as it's also known. I'm going to be your commentator today, Kevin Harrison of course, as usual. And yes, the stream is up a little bit late, so of course time's already being set. 18 corners around this track here in Sochi, almost 6 kilometers long as well. And of course the best overtaking opportunities into turn 2 and the back straight at the end into turn 13 as well, the inside. Certainly a potential overtaking spot if you brake late, but also watch out for going wide on the exit and maybe pushing your rival off. So we'll just go through here, of course. Timber Stalins, naturally in the Mercedes, 31.3, you would kind of expect that. Corboy, who was in a Merc actually a few weeks ago in Austria, has put himself second, of course, in the Red Bull at the moment, the white Red Bull, which is nice to see. Tom Jewell in the other Mercedes, putting himself in third on the softs. I should say Corboy also on the mediums, by the way, as well. Matthew Alder in the Williams in fourth, naturally putting himself up there as he always does. Paco Suarez in the AlphaTauri in fifth. Pretty much everyone going for the mediums right now, and pretty much everyone back into the pit lane at this point. Looks like Jared Fosbury might be on a lap. I'm not sure. Maybe he's going to the pit lane. Seems he may well be. But in terms of on-track action, he's the only one who's technically on a lap at the moment, so we'll see what happens. At least he does have a fairly full battery. We'll see if he goes into the pit lane. He's looking like he's going to, and he does just that. So we'll try and find someone else who's at least close to starting a lap. Looks like maybe Cameron Young's going to be the most, the closest, I should say. I think he is. Cameron Young then going to be the next one to set a time. Because of course he'll be warming up his tyres a little bit and be outlap naturally. And I think a little bit of traffic ahead of him as well of the AlphaTauri in Paco Suarez, who's of course currently P5, who actually I should check out then if he's ahead. He is, or no, it's the other one. Sometimes the colours are a little bit difficult to tell the difference, as actually that was Dale Kelleher there in the Aston Martin, who set a time now on the softs, of course a 33.6 as you can see. Not too competitive, but again the car that you're in does kind of hold you back a little bit. Now of course on board with Cameron Young, he's going to have to clear the Aston Martin on his lap for sure, as he's going to be coming through turns 2 and turns 3. Of course very tricky, you want to take it as fast as possible, but also make sure not to invalidate. And now through here as well, you want to be right up on the curb without invalidating, going too, or at least cutting the corner too much. As you can see there on the entry of turn 4 there, he was just a little bit too wide and he's invalidated his lap. That's the end of his lap, of course. Now Matt is going to be next one as he comes through the very same corner. He's not invalidated, but he takes it a little cautiously, it seems, in the McLaren at the moment, as of course through turn 5 he's apparently purple in sector 1. I guess that's yet to be seen if it's really purple. I kind of doubt it, given Timber Stalins in the Mercedes. He's not a slow driver, so wouldn't really be expecting someone on the mediums to beat him, but I could be proven wrong. As of course going through, of course, onto the back straight, turn 11, a little bit tricky. You want to make sure you clip the curb, but not too much to have you spinning, as he's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Maybe someone actually giving him slipstream, might be his teammate. As of course you can see the Alpine getting out of the way there, as now through turn 13. One of the two better overtaking opportunities on the track, as I said earlier, as now of course through turns 15 and 16. Very tricky set of corners, especially with the back end, losing it out of the 15 going through to turn 16. But now the final few, the penultimate and final corners, what's he going to be able to set in the McLaren? He's on the mediums and he goes P6 with a 33 flat, 33.0 as you can see there, just behind Paco Suarez. Actually, not too much to separate them, just under a tenth between the two. So who else is on a lap then? Sondre Sorog is on a lap. You can see Timber Stalins has just improved on his time. As a Rocco Walsh, I think there, yeah, he goes P5 in the other Williams. So the two Williams actually putting themselves in fairly good positions. You can see it was Timber Stalins there who just extended his advantage a little bit. 31.2 now at the front. as Tom Jewell makes his way into the pit lane. Paco Suarez is invalidated. Matt has just set a lap, I know that, so maybe Dale Kelleher could be on a lap. Does look like he's a little bit low for ERS though. Lewis Millen could also be on a lap. I'm going to stay on board with him. It seems, of course, he already set a time in the mediums. He's on the softs now, so it should be a timed lap. As, of course, through the little kink of turn 12 to set yourself up for turn 13. It says purple, but I kind of doubt it in the Haas, of course. It's now through turn 14. As he's got McLaren just getting out of the way there. Goes a little bit deep, doesn't quite get the turn in as maybe that he would have wanted it to, as of course now approaching the penultimate and final corner for Lewis Millen. He's going to be looking to get somewhere into the top 10 anyway and get some sort of improvement. Across the line he's going to go 9th with a 33.5, so into the top 10, actually 200ths ahead of Ollie Flavel there in the Alfa Romeo, so very close margins between them two. As Paxworth still on that invalid lap. Rocco Walsh into the pit lane. Timer Azim, it seems, has set a lap recently then. He's put himself in the 3rd, and I can say for sure Corboy's on a lap, but he's an invalid lap. So that's not going to count towards anything, as it's not really giving me drivers. There we go. We'll see if... yeah, so Ross Denham then on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. Going through the back straight, opening up DRS, of course, on the softs. Of course, Ollie Flavel in the other Alfa Romeo set a 33.5 on the mediums. Himself set a 34.3, so a little bit of a gap, you can say, about 7/10 between them, at least on the medium runs. So we'll see what Ross can do now when he gets on the softs, as he's going to be going through turn 14. Very tricky. Gets up on the curb very unnecessarily there. Very early turn in from Ross, and he just gets a little bit out of touch, but continues with the lap anyway. Is through the penultimate and final corner. What's he going to be able to set? Should be in the top 10, or I'd be expecting it to be, as oh, he's actually invalid right at the end, it seems. And I doubt with 50% ERS that he'd be going for another lap either. As assist yard Fosbury looking for an improvement through the final corner on the softs. Does get a little bit of an improvement, not too extreme, 33.7 for Jared. And improves to 12th place, but maybe it could be a strategic advantage if he just stays there. As of course, Edward Hart and Cameron Young both out of the qualifying session, so the worst he'd get is 14th. And even then, on the softs as well, maybe Sondre would look at getting out to the top 10 kind of guaranteed as well, you never know. That's how the strategy plays out in qualifying. Yes, Ross is on valid lap, so it's going to be one of the guys on out lap to be next, and that next person is going to be Timer Azim, who's currently 3rd in the Alpine, of course. That's through the penultimate and final corners to start his lap, of course, across the line. He's going to have to improve ever so slightly if he wants a 2nd place, but first looks a little bit out of touch, you can say. Of course, he's about 6/10, you can say, behind Tim Brusalens on provisional put as what is. This game doesn't surprise me. I can't actually get on board with him unless no. I'm not sure, he may still be on a lap, but I don't see him on a lap, and I should be fair to people who I can see, and the one I can see is Ollie Flavel. It says yellow flags in Sector 2, but it seems like his car has just kind of disappeared now, as I do remember this kind of happening before as well. Time Regime doesn't always have the best connection to the lobbies, unfortunately. As a little bit too wide for Ollie Flavel. He was intent looking for an improvement. He'd put on the softs as well, Probably could have got fairly high in the top 10, maybe a 7th or 6th in the Alfa Romeo, given the improvement softs would have given him. But of course an invalid lap isn't going to get you anywhere. I think Tom Jewell is next. No, he's also invalidated his lap. As who is going to be next? Corboy probably not. Matthew Walder's going through sector 2. He's just getting onto the back straight. Sundre Sor. Yeah, it is actually going to be Matthew Alder then, from what I can tell. Unless actually Tim is further up. No, that's Tom. So it is going to be Matthew Alder then, the first one. Through the final corner for Matthew Alder, setting up his lap, and of course across the line to start it now, opening up DRS, getting over to the right hand side. It is probably ever so slightly quicker, I would say, and Matthew would be the one to use that line as well, gaining as much time as he possibly can now through turns 2 and turns 3. You want to make sure that you're not invalidating, and then of course through well, actually this is still turn 3, I should say, up on the curb now. And then turn 4, just want to make sure you don't invalidate, where Cameron Young did earlier on the outside there, the entry to the corner. As through turn 5, of course. I didn't actually quite catch if he's up on his time, but I'm going to assume he is. And he only needs a small improvement anyway to get 4th. I think 3rd maybe is a little bit out of reach. And to say that, then more 2nd as well. But he's going to be coming on to the back straight now, is opening up DRS, using all of the curb on the outside, just within the white lines, really cutting it close of course, to gain as much time as he possibly can. And now through turn 12, the left-hander, and then very tricky braking after coming off the turning left and then going suddenly right. Is now through the chicane, gets it a bit difficult as we are finishing up. Tom Jewell is certainly finished on a 31.6. He's not going to be getting pole position, but he has put himself in P2, so strong qualifying for him. As Matthew Alder now, of course, currently in 5th. He's going to be crossing the line. Can he improve? He is going to improve onto the 2nd row of the grid, 3rd place for Matthew Alder. I can see a Ferrari. I think that may be Sandre Sorg. It is Sandre Sorg who's run into some issues there. As the next one, I think it might be one of the Red Bulls. Maybe Corboy, is it? As Corboy is going to be coming through. It's an ultimate corner next. What can he do? Of course, I don't know if he's up on his time, but he's going to put it on provisional pole position. Can Timber Stalins maybe take it off him, as he's going to be coming through the final few corners now in the Mercedes? Of course, certainly has the car to do it. Does he have the speed to do it? No. 31.2 still, and he's not going to be able to take back what was once his earlier on in the qualifying session. Ollie Flavel has invalidated now. Pacasora is also invalidated. I think someone may have improved there. I didn't really see who did, as Matt, I think, just crosses the line. He goes P6. Ollie Flavel, both of them actually, Ollie Flavel and Pacasora is both invalid. So now it's all up to Jared Fosbury. What can he do? Where can he go at the end of this qualifying session? Through the penultimate corner in the Aston Martin as well. He'd probably be getting around 5th or 6th if it's a really good lap. And across the line, no, it's going to be 12th, unfortunately, for Jared. But he does have that advantage of having the fresh tyres at the start of the race. So it is going to be Corboy who takes provisional pole position. He was on the front row back in Austria, and he's on provisional pole position today. And he must feel happy about it. 2 tenths roughly, maybe a tenth and a half ahead of Tim Sainz, who's certainly going to be gutted with himself, because I think today really he would have wanted a pole position. Of course, he actually got a front row in F2 and almost won, but just had an incident late on in the race. I think maybe he's going to want a little bit of redemption today, as he's starting on the... Well, actually, to be fair as well, he did lead into turn 1, or turn 2 you can say, in F2. Maybe he can do the same in a similar car as well, similar speed, the Mercedes and the Red Bull. So you just never know with German, of course, on the 2nd row, as I think we are waiting for Timer Zine, who's not really here, I don't think. Same as last week, I think. It's unfortunate. And here we go then, the final qualifications. Corboy, of course, on pole position. Tim Brusailens joins him on the front row. Tom Jewell in third. Matthew Oler, very strong P4 in the Williams. Tom Razim in fifth. Matt in sixth. Rocco Walsh seventh. Ross in eighth. Ollie Flavel in ninth. And Paco Suarez rounds out the top 10. Then Lewis Millam and Jared Fosbury. Dale Keller setting times outside of the top 10. And then it was Cameron, Sondre Sorog and Edward Hart not actually getting a time in the end. And of course now away for the formation lap. And that should be the tweet then. As I was a little bit behind, didn't quite have time to get out earlier on. But we get it out just before the start of the race anyway, which isn't exactly on time, but it's better than nothing. As Cameron Young joins back, so it seems maybe he lagged out, I'm not sure. But good to see that he got back, whatever did happen. Corboy, of course, in that white Red Bull, very nice livery, I'm trying to say anyway. As today it says that it's going to be a one stop, which it certainly is going to be, unless the safety car is anyway. Soft medium, soft hard is not going to be used by anyone, and if it is, then really they're on the wrong strategy, because the hards really just don't give you enough grip at all, and the mediums can go almost all the race anyway. As now we all get lined up on the grid. 16 drivers here today in Sochi. Sochi certainly promotes racing, and hopefully we're going to see plenty of it, especially for the lead of that race, as I'm just trying to get a good camera angle. If it's going to update, or maybe someone's holding up the lobby, I'm not sure. I think someone might be holding up the lobby. It's just kind of at a standstill here as migrate, and there we go. Now, a lot of red lights it seems, but it's 5 red lights in Sochi, and it's lights out, and away we go. It looks like Tom had a good start initially, but he's out of this race. He's taken down a McLaren, a massive crash in the background there, and it's already a virtual safety car, as you would expect. Matt is out, Tom Jewell is out as well. You can see someone else getting caught up, and I think Ollie Flavel may have damage. He does have damage. Dale Keller is also is he actually out? I don't think he is. Maybe it doesn't say he's out, but his car is certainly stricken on the side of that track. Certainly 2 cars out at the start of this race. It was Tom Jewell's start. He lost it on the traction, and now Timer Azim finds himself leading the race ahead of Cameron Young. So the 2 Alpines are leading a 1 and 2. Tim Brisaden seems to have lost some ground to them, and Corboy off the line has dropped to 4th place. So unfortunately I didn't catch what happened in turn 1, but a massive crash as you saw, and it's a full safety car. I don't think anyone would doubt the legitimacy of that. Tom Jewell, of course, you can see is out. Matt is out. Dale Keller actually got disqualified in the end, as Lewis Millam also out of this Grand Prix. I think actually that was a separate incident there. Under safety car, you can see he went off. That would have been, I think it's turn 6, the right-hander there, that Lewis Millam went off. Is now Ollie Flavel. Is Ollie Flavel retiring? I'm starting to think maybe it's a restart, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't think it is, with the amount of people just retiring. Just gonna have a look and see what was going on. Oh, well, I just got a little bit of word. Tim mentioned that he was almost 4/10 up on his lap, but he invalidated on the last corner, so he could have had pole just as well as Corboy did. But of course it's the lap that matters, and if it's invalid, it's invalid, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, it is a restart. Interesting then. It seems some people didn't actually have control at the start, and that is why we are going for a restart. So I'll now then have to wait to get invited to the new lobby. A little bit unfortunate. Maybe gives people time to get back into the stream though, or get into the stream. Given that the tweet is out, people would have had time to see it as well. So it's not the worst situation, but certainly not nice to see a restart, especially when it's the fault of Codemasters and not the fault of the drivers themselves. As currently I don't have an invite, unfortunately. And there we go. Invite's actually up fairly quickly. I may have to restart the stream, that's gonna be a pain. I really didn't want to have to restart the stream, but I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to restart. Well, I'm going to be back in a few moments then. Unfortunately, the stream, of course, with me closing down the game, is going to have to restart. So it'll be back up in a minute or two, and then I'll see you there. So just sit tight, really.